A very good evening to you and welcome to another episode of the Natalie Show right here on GHOne TV. Special thank you to Dr. As Exclusive for hosting us for this episode. I hope you've had a brilliant week so far, and every Saturday at 5 p.m. it gives me so much joy to bring you the conversations that matter right here on the show. Tonight's conversation was the gentleman called GHOne, pretty tough name, Williams Ejay Ajete. He's better known as AJ Wills. He is a dynamic force in the branding and creative industry, and he wears quite a number of hats as well as an entrepreneur, a personal brand coach, media personality, philanthropist, and much more. And he has a very interesting upbringing that has carved him into the man he is today. He's here to share his story on the Natalie Show. Welcome, AJ.
Hi, Natalie. Thank you very much.
Most welcome. It's so good to have you.
Nice meeting you again.
Nice meeting you too. How has everything been?
Oh, by grace, we're managing. We can't complain. We're in Ghana, so.
Oh, that doesn't sound positive. You're managing. You can't complain. You're in Ghana. My goodness.
Yeah, everything there inside.
Oh wow. Well, things generally are well.
But generally everything is okay.
That's amazing. Now, that leads me into the first question here on the Natalie Show all the time, which is, as we sit right now, what's the state of AJ's life looking like?
Oh, thank you very much. It's great to be on your show. I've been watching, and I find myself here today. So the state of AJ's life now, I think I'm in a place of growth, like extra growth, and self-actualization. I'm beginning to realize new things about myself. I'm beginning to understand things in a much more different dimension than I used to before. So I think I'm at a level of self-actualization.
That's powerful. And you say extra growth.
Yeah.
I believe you've been growing throughout these years, like career-wise, personally. Sure. So what has made this stage of your life such an extra period of growth? Why?
I think the hard work I've put in over the years, I'm now seeing that they are paying off. Comparing to a few years back, the things I used to do and the things I'm doing now, they're quite different. The contracts, the businesses, the clients, I think they are all on a different level than some years back. Yeah. And generally, AJ Wills Media too is also doing well, which is my business, my company. Right. So I think that's the growth I'm talking about, because looking from where we began and where we are today, there's a whole lot of growth.
There's growth, right. Now, talking about the journey and where you began, if you could fast forward, not just career-wise, but personally, AJ the child, right? I'm trying to envision that, but yes, AJ the child. What was that like? What was life like for you growing up?
Life was good. I wouldn't say it was bad. Yeah. Growing up was fun because I had my parents, loving parents. When I was 5 years, I was born in Ghana actually. When I was 5 years, they had to take a trip to the southern part of Africa, starting from Zambia to South Africa, to Zimbabwe, to Malawi. So I've been
That's
around.
Exciting.
Yeah. So growing up, I was with my dad, then my parents. We moved to South Africa, Zambia.
I guess for your parents' work.
Yes.
Who's who? Which parent?
My dad.
Your dad's.
Yeah.
Right.
So we had to settle down in Zambia, where he owned a farm. So I'm a farm boy actually.
You're a farm boy.
I grew up on the farm with my dad, learning how to cultivate, learning how to farm different kinds of crops. We were well to do actually. I wouldn't say things were bad, but we were well to do because my dad was really hardworking. So that's how I grew up on the farm, went to school. All my siblings were born there in South Africa actually.
In South Africa. Okay.
Then they grew up in Zambia. So the growth period was that time. But things started changing after some tragic incidents happened to the family. Well, that is when my dad fell sick, was seriously ill. I was in the hospital for months.
How old were you when that happened?
I was around 9 years when he fell ill. He went into coma for almost 5 months. Then when we thought things were getting better for him to come out of the coma, he came out and due to some few negligence on the part of the doctors.
Was this in Ghana?
No, that was in Zambia.
In Zambia as well.
Yeah. Right. He passed on after waking up from the coma, which was undoubtedly the biggest blow I've ever felt. And I still feel it now. even though I'm matured, I've grown, but that part of me has never let go of that.
I can imagine.
Part here.
Now, you were 9 years old, and I'm sure, given, you say he was in a coma for 5 months, and then he got back, right? I'm sure that was positive. Like, okay, he's going to be fine.
That's what I'm saying.
And then it changes. That's completely devastating. Yeah. How did you process all these events as a 9-year-old boy? I
didn't process it well. The fact being that he was my mentor. Right. He was someone I looked up to. He was someone that was there. Aside him being a disciplinarian, who really disciplined me.
Which was good, too.
Which was good.
Yeah.
It has shaped me to the man I am today, actually. Yeah. But I loved him. He played with us. So losing him, I felt like the whole world was gone. Yeah. I felt I was alone. I started becoming extra. I'm already an antisocial person.
You're an introvert, right?
So I realized I started becoming more introvert. Yeah. So it was affecting my studies, affecting my schooling, affecting my friendship. Even with my own siblings, it was a problem because now I had to look at my mom. She has to struggle.
So where are you placed? Are you the first, the last?
With my mom, I'm the first.
So how many siblings do you have with direct siblings?
Direct siblings, I have 4.
4. Only boy?
We are 4. Mm-hmm. Let's say we are 4. Mm-hmm. So we are 3. I have 3 direct siblings.
Okay.
So 2 boys, 2 girls. Okay. But I have an elder sister who was from my dad.
Right.
Yeah, but she was in Ghana then, so she was not part of us there. So yeah, that's how the whole journey. So his death has been a biggest blow to my life.
Because you say you grew up in a relatively comfortable home. Yeah. A farm, a big farm. That would be quite an exciting a very wholesome childhood.
Yeah.
And then he passes on. Yeah. Bless his soul. And you say at 9 years old, you didn't grasp it too well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How did you clearly see that life has changed? Is it new school? Is it the standard of living reducing, quality of education reducing? How did you realize that, okay, this life has changed?
All right. I started noticing that because of what my dad was doing, there was enough to support us for some time.
Right.
My mom too was hardworking, so she had to keep working. But there was a moment in my life where it really hit me when I think I went to school. Then I was sacked.
Okay.
Not for anything, but my shoes I was wearing actually were torn. So I was sacked for that. I should go.
You were sacked?
Yeah.
I thought you said you were sad.
No,
okay, you were sacked from school because your shoe was torn.
Yeah.
Was that the order?
Yeah, well, it happened.
Okay.
I was surprised seeing the shoe torn actually.
So you weren't really aware?
No, I just wore it and I left. So when I was going home then, on the way, the whole bottom part came out. So I had to...
Exactly you were having in school.
So I had to hold the shoes home. Then when I go home, I told my mom, when she looked at me, then she started crying. So I think at that moment,
you knew that
I just knew that no, there's something wrong. Already I was not myself. Yeah. So she cried not because of they sacking me, but she cried because of the situation we were in at that moment.
And I'm sure the shoe being torn just showed her how much of a burden
because it never happened. Yeah, my dad was buying all the things. We had everything intact. So that experience made me understand, even though I was young, I had to try and man up.
Right.
Because I love my mom so much. Mm-hmm. And seeing her in that condition really brought something else out of me.
Yeah.
So I started saying, no, I had to help. So my mom used to bake bread. She's a caterer, so she bakes bread and different kind of pastries.
Okay.
So when I close from school, I go home, carry them on my forehead. Sometimes it's my siblings follow me, sometimes I alone. I roam the community where we're in, we're in the capital, Lusaka. Mm-hmm. So precisely Kitwe, yeah, if I can remember. So I roam the community talking about selling bread. Hey, it's a bread, go to various vendors, various shops. Well, they liked my mom's bread, so it was selling.
Sold, right.
Then weekends, I used to tie Jolly Juice in rubber. Then I'll go to the cinema, Mountain, there's ice cream. Then they'll buy, I'll be happy because I'm making money. Yeah. I'll save money, so I was happy.
So you were happy.
Then I'll go and buy the Jolly Juice again, mix it again, tie it.
Were you asked to do this? So I'm sure at this age you were like 10, 11.
Yeah, I was around 10.
Okay.
Did
your mother, was there a point where your mother just sort of asked you support?
She didn't
Or did it take?
She didn't want me to
I
do
can
that,
imagine
but
she wouldn't have.
as a child, I was actually a little bit stubborn.
Right.
But
That's a positive sort of stubborn,
not a little bit. I was really stubborn.
Right.
So if you wanted to control me, I was used to my dad controlling me. So since he was not there, oh, forget.
That's
so there's nothing you say that I'll listen. I was also saying that, hey, I'm making money, so come on. When I bring it, I also bring it to you.
How did it help her? How did your entrepreneurial skills at that time help her?
What it did was there were certain things that I could handle on my own regarding to schooling. But I was also supporting my kid brothers and sisters. When she's not there, I make sure we had something to survive on or to buy family. So it was also another
It
ball
was
game
difficult
altogether
as
when
well
we came
in
back to
Ghana.
Ghana.
Yeah.
That was in 1999.
Right.
We came back to Ghana in 1999. Then things started taking a different turn, problems here and there, family issues.
Right.
You know, their son died overseas, problem with my
Definitely.
mom.
So there was just, I mean, a lot of difficulties, really. A lot of difficulties.
Yeah, well.
You know, I'm sure you had a lot to maneuver. So when you then returned to Ghana, this is your home, where you're from, and you sort of started having to make life happen here in Ghana. Career-wise, let's fast forward. When did that begin for you? And seeing yourself in a different field from agriculture as you had initially.
Okay, I went to school. Actually, I still did agriculture in secondary school.
Okay, good.
I still did agriculture in tertiary.
Right.
So after the tertiary, then I moved to the Eastern region, where I was posted for national service. I was with the Electoral Commission and teaching at the same time. Then after service, I realized, no, I can't come back to Accra because Accra was choked. Job-wise, it was difficult to get jobs in Accra. And my parents, my mom and my siblings are also in Accra. So I have to find a way to survive. Even though God being so good, we have a very wonderful stepdad who came into the picture, who was taking care of us as well. But at that moment, I realized I have to look for a job. So I did apply for a few jobs. My first job was within the insurance industry, where I joined the insurance company for 4 years as their marketer.
Right.
Then I traveled to Nigeria to meet one of my stepfather's friends from the church. So I went to Nigeria, then learned some skills, some training, office training and stuff. So that is where my branding journey actually began.
Right.
So the man I was staying he was very keen on branding and how to project yourself. So he took us through a lot of training. Then I was like, no, I need to really build on this. So when I came back to Ghana, luckily I met someone online called CJ Benjamin. He's a Nigerian too, who had a platform on WhatsApp. That was in 2018 thereabout. So I joined the WhatsApp group. Then they were talking about different things. And he said he had a branding training. So I joined the training. I liked what they were doing. So I hit him back and told him, no, I want to upgrade on my branding. So he took me through a few trainings. Then I met one of the top 500 brand consultants in US, Faith James. She's one of the top brands consultants in US. Then she also took me through her program.
So at this point, it was clear from your trip to Nigeria, right? There was the initial trip to Nigeria and then meeting these key personalities in the branding and marketing space that you were shifting into this space, right? And what was that moment like for you when you decided that this was going to be your career path?
All right. After doing all this training, actually, I didn't really push forward. It was late in 2019 when the COVID started making waves around the world. Then it hit Ghana, I think, in March.
Yes.
Then I decided I was home by then. So during the lockdown, the job I was doing before then, I had to quit because they were not paying me actually.
Right.
I had to be moving up and down. So I had to quit. So I was home, boy trying to survive at home. No food, nothing. So it got to a point sometimes you go through this depression states.
So you went through depression?
I went through a depression state.
Now I wouldn't want to, I'm just going to hold you briefly because I don't want you to skip the details of that state of depression.
Okay, sure.
And how you got out of that depression and then even set up your own organization. Do stay with us here on the Natalie Show. You're welcome back to the Natalie Fort Show here at Doctor's Exclusive. I've been in conversation with AJ Wills, AJ for short. Now, AJ, you set up AJ Wills Media, right? But you were just highlighting on the journey or the period of depression when you were jobless, right? What was that period like for you? How depressing was it?
It was very depressing. Yeah. And there's something my parents don't know about, or my friends.
Right.
I kept it to myself. There was a point in time during that lockdown, especially during the lockdown period, where reflections, thoughts, regrets, and a whole lot of things, especially I had to start reflecting back on my dad, family, a whole lot of things, and job issues. So I was asking myself questions that what did we come to this world to do actually? So I think God listened to my heart pour that I poured out at that moment, because I was talking from a place of pain.
What were you asking? You were asking what you think.
Well, I just told. Actually, I got to a point where I was like, I'm tired. Because sometimes, Charlie, what to eat was a problem. I can't call home because I'm the first son. I had to support the house, even though they would support me, but it's becoming too much. So I had to find a way to survive, and it was difficult. So I got to a point where I was like, Charlie, if you know, say, I was like, God, if you know, I'll not wake up tomorrow. I'll wake up to this same situation tomorrow. Why don't you just take me off? Because I'm tired. I'm really tired. Then I slept, actually. I woke up in the morning. Then by then I was trying to advertise what I was doing gradually. I was also good in a little bit I'm good in graphics as well. Graphic design. So people knew I was good in that. So they used to tell me, why don't you just take it up? I was like, oh, nah.
Why not?
I wanted to sit at the desk. That Ghanaian mentality.
Of a 9 to 5 office
9 to 5
job.
kind of job. So I was really not afraid to take that step. So my first client, I always owe everything to him, Oscar Bimpong, contacted me that, hey, I want you to do a flyer for me. I did it. He paid some coins. I was happy. Then I saved a little bit. He came back again. So through him, recommendations started coming. Then I was like, no, then I need to really take this thing serious. So that is when I said, no, let me set up myself. So quickly, already I registered one business before. I didn't want to use that. I had to find a way of registering my new business. Now, the reason why I chose the AJ was because then I was supporting Live FM, Jay Foley Jeremy, the Live Breakfast show. Yes, I was part of them as supporting their WhatsApp group, their fan base. So I was known very well in that space. So AJ was like, no, I'm already known as AJ, so why not maintain the same name for easy identification, easy working in communication. So I chose the name, registered it. Then I said, no, I'm starting my own company, whether I have something or not. So it was through that when my Oscar noticed I registered, a few of them noticed. Then they started recommending much more companies. Then out of my own advertisement, then I started getting a few gigs here and there. Then one thing led to another. Today we are here.
So you felt like a failure, I guess, at the point you were depressed.
I did feel like a failure.
How old were you at the time?
During my national service, I was around, if I'm not mistaken, in my mid-20s or late 20s.
You felt like a failure, making nothing. And do you think that there's a level of pressure that is put on young, I wouldn't say young Ghanaians, but on the youth? Now it's reduced, but these white-collar, 9 to 5 jobs, sit at a desk, and if you are not successful in that path, you then feel like, what next?
There's a lot of pressure from society, from family, and from the will to live as well, because you also want to make a life, and it gives you that pressure. So young people always face these pressures. That is why sometimes some end doing things that they're not supposed to do just to survive. So sometimes I don't blame so much of the youth for what they do, even though some are not good, but sometimes life itself has ways of pushing you to do things that you don't want to do. Because there's a point in time you realize, Papa, I want to do something just to survive, because I need to survive. Because who are you going to, especially when you're a man?
Exactly. I was going to get to that. Exactly.
A man doesn't act.
It's difficult, huh?
You can't act because they'll be like, now what are you saying? You're a man. You're going to work. Go and do this. So it puts extra burden on you because you have no one to ask.
Yeah.
Your siblings will come to you. Your parents will come to you. So it gets to a point whereby, no, Charlie, you have to. So the pressure on we the youth, it's
young men,
right? Especially because we have no one. We have to rely on our own self to survive. So if you don't give me anything, I have to work for it. And when you work for it, you have to distribute it.
Right.
So there's pressure.
Yeah. That's very, very true. Very true. Now, so you sort of got through this one client after another through Oscar, you mentioned.
Yeah, Oscar
the door that opened through him.
Benjamin Kwanzaa. Then and I got a few from the
and other clients, and wonderful. So then you were basically in this branding space, right?
Yeah, then I've entered the branding
And how did you brand yourself within the branding space to be not just a professional in the space, but a top player too?
Okay, so after the training with this CJ Benjamin and Faith James, I realized that I had to position, I've already positioned myself in a certain way back from school. So I carry myself in a certain way actually. So normally my friends used to tell me, the way they carry yourself, the way you carry yourself, you're always having I don't do certain things, I project certain things. So sometimes when I'm even employed by an employer, you find it difficult to talk to me anyhow or just say anything because of the way I carry myself. So I already began the journey of putting myself in
branding yourself.
Yes. Yeah. So when I started the branding training, after I started the business, I realized that I had to project more. So what did I do? I had to understand the industry I was going into. What do brand people do? What does it mean to be a brand consultant? What does it mean to be a brand strategist? What does it mean when you're talking about branding? So I had to study, understand. Then it started from the way I appear, the way I dress, the way I go for events, how I'm addressed. And I wanted to make sure I was a talking point in my locality, in my region, especially the Eastern region. The
Eastern region, right.
So I started going to events, talk programs. I made sure when I see a program and they have speakers, I find my way on that place. So I started building that. So I went from one program to another. Then it built that brand thing I was talking about. It projected it out. I had friends in the media in the Eastern region. I go for interview talking about branding. So currently, when you come to the Eastern region, actually, you're talking about brand.
It's you.
My name is the first thing that has to come up because I have had to work to make sure that happens. So it's important to understand where you're coming from, what it is you're coming to do, what it is you want to be known for, and the perception you want to be perceived about you. Then you dive into it. So once you dive into it, you make sure you live according to that.
So what you yourself, the message you have sold about yourself. And then within your, I think a lot of times when we're thinking of branding ourselves or impacting, we forget that there's a community right where we are, right? The immediate community. We think global and, but there's a community right where we are. Exactly. Now, I'd imagine in spite of your intentionality with branding yourself, it wasn't all that easy or rosy. What were some of the darker, more difficult moments for you?
You have to prove yourself. That is one of the most difficult things. You need to earn trust. And branding comes with trust. It comes with authenticity, credibility, and value. So if you don't possess these things, or what you're doing doesn't possess any of those things, it becomes difficult because if you say you're a brand consultant, what makes you a brand consultant? How are you a brand consultant? So these are questions people will ask you. So you need to be a master in the game. You need to understand what branding is all about, right from ideation stage to when it becomes a whole fruitful entity. So you need to be able to take one client from that stage to that stage, from point A to point B. You need to carry them along. So you need to prove yourself. How do you do this? You need to make sure if there's one client you can get, that you can make sure you carry them along that brand journey. You do that. So what I did is, with Oscar, I became his brand consultant because he kept seeing what I was doing. So he said, okay, since you say you're a brand consultant, handle my branding. And he gave it to me. So right from his logos, his appearance, his flyers, his social media communications, I made sure I took him along the journey. So it added up, even though he was already there, it added up more value to what he had. People saw what I was doing. So once in a while they call, you come for this program and talk to these people. come to this school,
Right.
talk to this people. Just recently, I had the opportunity to be at University of Education, Geneva,
Okay, nice.
as a guest facilitator to the students to talk about
Right.
branding.
Yeah.
So it's because over the years I have added value,
to yourself.
credibility.
Yeah.
I'm trustworthy
Right.
and I'm authentic. So,
One question, when it comes to, when we think of branding in today's day and age, of course we think social media, we think what we are projecting, which is part of branding. But sometimes the message that we are projecting, some project, is not what or who they actually are, right? Now you say that you have to have you have to be trustworthy, credibility, authenticity, and all of that. People can also really project credibility. I know credibility is earned, but you can project credibility for some time. You can project authenticity. You can project it, but it may not really be what you're practicing. We have a lot of people doing varied spaces. I don't want to be overly specific, right? But we have that happen. How do we marry the two? Can you project a brand that has all these good values and not necessarily be walking that or be that in your actual life?
No, you can't.
You can't? Right.
There's a lot happening, especially when it comes to social media. People projecting different things on social media, but in actual sense, they are not what they're projecting. You meet people projecting certain things, and you meet them one-on-one, you'll be like, are you for real?
Right.
Like, seriously? Like, no, that is not you. So you have doubt. Now, once that is done, it creates problems for your brand. So it now brings about, then I can't trust you. You are not trustworthy. You are projecting it, but in actual sense, interacting with you, I get to realize you don't even possess what you project, which then hurts your personality, hurts your brand. So social media life, people say fake it till it becomes real. You
so fake it till you make it, they say.
No, don't try
No?
You must be, branding is intentional. You must be intentional about the projection you're projecting. You must be intentional about the perception you want people to have. It's intentional. You do it intentionally. So which means you are focusing on what you want to be projected. So if I want you to know me for something, I must be intentional about it, which means that my everyday life, my step to step, should reflect. When I engage with you, you should feel what I'm talking about. You should see the value of what I'm talking about. Because at the end of the day, if I project being a brand consultant and I'm given the opportunity to work and I'm not able to deliver, then I'm lying, which means I can never get any job again. That client will not recommend me. Rather, he will tell someone, don't go to this person, which we don't want.
Which kills your brand, really, at the end of the day.
And I think it's something that happens on social media.
It does. And it's something that affects a lot of young people. It really affects a lot of young people.
Because
it increases the pressure that you were talking about.
It increases. You see, people want to copy brandly because they are seeing, oh, Natalie Ford is well dressed. She's on TV. She's doing that. I want to be like that. So they don't know what you go through to get to that level or to project what you're projecting. And they don't know whether what you're projecting is true or not. They need to get close to you to understand. But they are not ready or humble enough to understand that all they see is the outwardness of it. It's just like an iceberg. You see the tip small, but the bigger ice is down there.
That's a very good one.
That is where the job is.
That's where the work is.
I'm just projecting what I have worked so much for outside for you to see. So you can't fake it. You need to be real.
I like
if
that.
If you want to work with me, I need to know who I am. I'm real. So I tell you what it is. If you like it, no. If you like it, so you wouldn't go and say I wasn't real with you. You would go, oh, he's real.
He's honest. He's authentic.
He was honest. He's authentic. He's credible, and he's trustworthy. So you must just deliver on what you expected.
That's very well said. Now we're going to talk a bit more about branding and the youth, and sort of like some advice that you'll give, and of course what the next chapters of your life look like. Do stay with us here on the Natalie Ford Show. You're welcome back to the Natalie Fort Show here on GHOne TV. A special thank you to Dr. As Exclusive for hosting us for this episode of the show. Now, I've been in conversation with AJ Wales, leading branding consultant. And AJ, I like how you put branding, because usually branding is seen as an external thing, what you project, what you wear, what, you know, your lifestyle. But it's an internal thing too. It's having those internal values, trust and integrity that really carve your brand. And I think it's important for young people to know that. Now, there's some young people that we're all young. I'm talking like I'm not, but there's some that I've observed, right, who say work in institutions, maybe doing national service, and they may not be very intentional at that stage about their brand. They may feel like when they come on television or start to do the news, then their brand begins. What will you tell Ghanaian youth who are even at those positions of, say, national service, and how at that point you can start to build your brand?
All right, so thank you. Building a brand starts internally. It's an intrinsic something. It comes from within, because it's you have to first of all know where you're going, who you want to be, how you want to be addressed or perceived. Once you understand these basic things, then you get to know how you're supposed to go about. So definitely branding is about research. Analysis. That is, first analyze yourself. Yes. You may be doing your national service. That doesn't mean you're going to end there. You can be doing your national service and still project a very good, solid brand that can be sought for. So why not start? Analyze yourself. What field am I good at? How do I want to be projected, or how do I want to project myself or be known? Those are the initial stage. Once that is done, then you have to develop a strategy. Branding comes with strategy. So the analysis stage is all about you. That is the intrinsic, understanding what it is you want to be like. Then now you come to strategy. Okay, I want to be a brand consultant. I want to be a marketer. Now, being a marketer, how do you go about being a marketer? What are your strategies you're going to put in place? How are you going to project you being a marketer or a go-to person in the field? Those are the strategies. One that is done is before the visuals come.
The optics.
The visuals are normally the last. The branding process. But what people do is, I want to be this.
They start from there.
They just jump to the visuals. Then when you start interacting with them, you realize that there's no something. There's not foundation. Even some companies are like that. Immediately have an idea, I want to start this business. They quickly look for a graphic designer, design a logo, a flyer, or a label. Quickly they begin the business. Then you realize that you want to scale up. Now you realize you have to go back. And it's a problem. So for we the youth, I think we should be intentional about who we want to be. It's very important. Even if you are not there yet, project yourself in that manner. Because you might not know where the opportunity might just come in from. So you just need to be prepared, know who you are, what you want, and what is it you want to solve, or what you want to be. Then work towards it.
It's true. Analyze yourself. That's what, it's yourself, really. Now, you say that you're in a period of extra growth, what you describe as extra growth. Professionally, obviously, I believe that outside of professional stuff, there's you, AJ, the person. Are you at a point of extra growth on a personal level? Do you have any personal aspirations? Are you a father?
Yes. I'm not a father.
Married?
No, yet.
Okay.
I'm married. Yes.
You're married? Okay, great.
I'm not yet a father.
Okay. Any aspirations in that context?
Yes. Personally, I'm still learning.
Learning about what, being a father or a husband?
No, learning about everything.
Okay.
And I want to be like my late dad. So there's so much. He was a great man. There's so much I need to do to get to that level. So personally, as I said, self-actualization. So I'm beginning to understand certain things about myself. Understand how life is all about. Understand what I need to do. Other than just being there and just moving along with the flow. So personally, I've gotten to a place where I'm reflecting on a whole lot of things to restructure and reposition myself again. Business-wise, I'm also looking at expanding my business, growing it much more bigger, and also trying to come up with new ideas to push the business. Because apart from being a brand consultant, which my business also does, we're into other services, event management, graphics, website development. Currently, we're also handling one of the biggest schemes in the Eastern region, which is a media award scheme that we're handling as well. So business-wise, I need to really reposition my business for much more scalability, let's say global scale wise. So that's the growth that I am running.
That's the point you're at, personally and professionally. Yeah. What will your final sort of words be? What's that? If you could just very briefly, in a minute, sort of like paint a picture of what AJ's ideal life would look like. What does that look like?
AJ is a simple guy. I'm very simple, but straightforward, principled,
right?
And I don't do negativity.
I like that.
Or positive. I don't care the situation actually. I don't really care.
Okay.
Mine is I'm positive.
Yeah.
I always see a positive aspect in every aspect of anything.
Yeah.
So I don't dwell on negativity so much. So when you're looking for negativity from me, you would.
I mean, I guess your most negative and lowest point was the depression, which you've clearly come out of. So you're good.
So I try not to dwell on the negative.
Yeah.
So anybody around me, I want you to be positive minded. Right. So a typical AJ was is a fun person, lovable person, and just let's be free. I don't like rules. That creative people don't like rules. So much.
Yeah, that's true.
They like room to operate. Yeah. So that's the same environment I give out.
Yeah? Positivity. Yeah, like I said, you've come out of depression and you've done what you've done.
Yes.
So clearly the years ahead are positive. Yeah. AJ, good job really on everything. You've taught me a lot about branding as well.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, the internal intrinsic part of branding, very important. Now, as we round up the show, we've got Fantastic with AJ next. Do stay with us here on the Natalie Ford Show. Time for Fantastic here on the show, and I've got a game I'm playing with AJ. Now, AJ, I know branding is about, as you said, you've told me all the points of branding, but in addition to the look and the image, you also work a bit with language, right? So I've got before me the longest word in the English language. Okay, it took me ages to pronounce it. I'm just letting you know, warning you, but I'm going to give you 30 seconds, to just figure this word out and pronounce it correctly.
Can I bail out?
No, you can't. You're on the show. Everything has to be done. So there you go.
Okay.
Longest word in the English language.
Wow. It's you for this one.
Oh, Lord. Okay, so we're going to get our timer running now. 3, 2, 1, go.
Wow. Pneumono. Ultra microscopic. See, please.
Oh no, I told you were 80% right. You were guessing that. Yeah, you were.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. Is it
your time is going to be up in a bit.
Ultra microscopic silico volca no.
Done. Done. Your time's up. Look, I told you you were like 80% close. So it's pneumo. Look at me. I'm giving you the word. I'm having difficulty pronouncing it. Pneumo ultra microscopic silivolcaniosis.
What does it mean?
It's an illness that comes from a volcanic eruption.
Oh,
yeah.
That's what is volcanic.
Exactly. That's why it's a lung disease. Good for them, AJ. You've been amazing, really, to engage with here on the show. Good job on everything, and good job on walking the talk.
Try our best.
Yeah.
And thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Right.
Being with you on the show.
It's been wonderful having you on the show. You're an inspiration, like I said to myself, and I'm sure to many other young people. When we talk about branding, it's not just about the look and the image. It's about you. Assess yourself. That's the thing that you said that really stands out to me. So we've got a little something for you.
Oh.
Yeah. Can't wait, right? It's pretty obvious, close to obvious what it is because it's in a frame. But
what is in front is what is important.
What's in front is what's important. Before I show you what's in front, of course, it's from myself, from the entire team here at the Natalie Ford Show, my producer, Gifty, and the entire crew. It's done. I'm going to show you the piece though, but I'm just letting you know right here. It's done by a young man called Victor, who is the owner of Imagine Flip Graphics. It's a digital printing company, and so you can find them on Instagram
Sure.
at Imagine Flip, and the contact details is 027-281-2523. Okay.
All right.
So now on to the piece.
Okay.
Okay. Ta-da!
That's cute.
Yeah?
That's a brand and I cute.
Oh, and it looks just like you in terms of how you're what you're wearing as well.
Really, really beautiful.
So yes, it's done by
Thank
Victor
you
Imagine
so
Flip.
much.
You're most welcome.
I'm in love with it.
I'm glad you are, and I'd love to come by your office one day and see it hanging up.
I think when I get home.
Oh,
Lovely.
lovely.
Thank you so much, Image Flips.
Yeah,
I really appreciate this. I'll follow you.
you should. He's a very talented young man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, AJ. You've been incredible to speak with, and I wish you all the very best of success in the years ahead.
It's been great being on your show.
Thank you.
Looking forward to more.
Definitely. Do stay with us here on the Natalie Ford Show. We've got Proud of My Hustle next.
Oh, mama, yeah, demonstration. And I feel gonna cut there. Can you only man get be? It's a number like she what manager. I told me, Staffa, I'm proud of my hustle.
It's been an absolute pleasure bringing you tonight's conversation here on the Natalie Ford Show. And as we always do, before we round up the show, I've got Natalie's take. A few words I want to leave with you. Now, my conversation with AJ Wills was very inspiring, and I took a lot of key nuggets from his story. But one thing that stuck with me, particularly when it comes to his field of branding and marketing, a lot of times, particularly in the social media age that we're living in today, when we think branding, we think the more materialistic things. What you're wearing, what you're driving, photo shoots you've taken, the image, particularly us ladies. But branding is more intrinsic. It's more about you. Like AJ said, begin the journey of building your brand by assessing yourself. Who are you? What are your values, integrity, time consciousness? Ask yourself what they are. Build the needed values and assess yourself. And then you can move on to the more materialistic things, because truly it all begins with you. So that's what I'd want to leave you with here on the Natalie Ford Show this evening. Join us same time next week right here on GHOne TV for more conversations that matter. Have a good evening.